And Sonya, it's on mute.
Sorry, I'm just a talkie. Welcome to our first speaker series of the school year. I'm excited. We ended in May with high dosage tutoring with Miss Emily Freitag, and it was a hit for parents. And today we're gonna be talking about TCAP scores. Now, I know some of you guys are like, whoa, thank God we're going to be talking about this because it's often a conversation that parents and grandparents just feel like it's very unfamiliar to them. And so today I want to welcome our special guest, Mr. Eric Wulff from the Tennessee Department of Education. And Eric is the Director of Assessment, Use, and Interpretation. And Eric, I just want to say welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. I know that, TCAP scores are always important and they can often be confusing. So hopefully we can have a discussion today just about kind of what the scores might mean. And I do want to spend some time today showing you guys the family portal if you haven't seen it already.
Great. But first, you know what? We always like to kick it off with relationship building. Eric, look, I know it's raining all around us, and Ada done made her place here across the state of Tennessee. But let's hear a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, it's raining pretty hard here too, so hopefully my internet is stable throughout this. But so I'm my background. So I'm kind of been born and raised in the Midwest. I kind of grew up in northern Michigan. Kind of when I was kind of started out really interested in science and kind of started down a track, kind of towards kind of science research. And then as I was kind of working on my kind of graduate work, I had the opportunity to be a teaching assistant, and that kind of, I think, got me into education. I think I kind of hit the spark for me. And then I kind of transitioned I was a high school teacher for a number of years. And as a high school teacher, I became really interested in assessment because it was something I didn't understand. And it was something that I really wanted to better understand it seems like someone's always talking about assessment. And I really wanted to be part of the conversation. So I went on to do some graduate work, kind of in assessment within science education. I've also got some an interest in video games personally, and I did some work with developing a video game to teach middle school kids about science, and I kind of worked on assessments of that game, and then now here I am at the department still working on assessment. So,
Lord, you know what? I'm old. You were talking about that, and I was thinking about when I was in school how we loved science and social studies, and there was this game that we played called Wagon Trail. That's when those big old computers. I mean, the computers were just big and historic and dinosaur. And I remember us having those big old computers, and we wanted to play Wagon Trail. So, my God, has technology advanced since then?
yeah.
Well, thank you for giving us some information about your background, and like you said, the importance behind understanding the assessments. Why it's so important to inform us on how to help our children to make sure that they're successful. So we're looking forward to hearing from you and then taking questions from our audience. So parents, share. At this time, get everybody on here. Tell me, get on here and listen up and make sure you guys drop your questions into the comments, and we will answer as many questions as possible. So in lieu of the weather, I want to go ahead and get started. So Eric, you can go ahead and start presenting, and I will mute myself.
All right. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thanks for Nashville PROPEL for hosting today. And thanks for everyone that's joining. I see some folks saying hello in the chat, and I appreciate that. I do want to say, before I do get started, I do want to mention, I believe my email is in the bottom here in the ticker. So feel free as you're after the session here, if you got questions or you log into the portal and just, have some questions pop up, feel free to let me know. I'm happy to assist you the best that I can. So I just want to make a note of that. So for purposes today, I think I'm hoping to do a couple things. I think one of them is to just kind of provide just some general orientation to, reading students' score reports and kind of making sense of what they mean, what assessment data means, and also kind of decompressing what you might see when you look at a student report. And then also, I do want to talk about how you might access these online using our family portal. And so we'll talk a little overview about how to get to the family portal. Once you get in the family portal, we'll talk about what kind of information you find there. And then also, I'll also put a little plug in for our Best for All Central website, which is our department website where we just house a lot of different assessment resources. And we're in the process of building specific resources towards parent interpretation of TCAP. So I'll just kind of end with a little bit of introduction to that, and then always remember to keep posted on that as we and I have more updates and more resources to share for you guys there. And then at the end, we'll have some opportunity for feedback and for questions and comments. Okay, so to kind of start off here, we'll start, I think the first thing as a parent you'll probably see about your student's performance is going to be the score report. Sometimes we call it the individual student report, or the ISR for short. And what we have on the screen here on the right is just a picture of what one of these kind of looks like. And this is just kind of a mock student, but hopefully if you haven't received this from your school district already, hopefully you'll be receiving it very soon. Just to give you a little bit of the time scale for when we released data from spring 21. So on July 30th, we opened our family portal with the general education results from spring 21. A few weeks later, in the middle of August, we have all the printed student reports delivered to districts for spring 21 for the general education, and then the TCAP alternative assessments were available online mid-August and in our portal. And then in early September this week, towards the end of this week, we'll have those reports delivered to districts for TCAP alternative education. And so on the school report, you look kind of in and we'll show you this more in a minute, but you'll kind of just see that at the very top, there's, the kind of the general information, the student's name, but what's of particular importance for accessing the portal will be the US ID, and that'll be the number that's right below the name, and then right to next to it, you'll see the grade level. And then below that, you'll just see sort of some general information, which we'll dive into when we get into the portal. But just want to make you aware that to access the portal, you'll be using the US ID, or also called the state ID, student state ID, and that'll give you the initial access to the portal. And so for getting to the portal, so we've got the URL up here. It's familyreport.tnedu.gov. The /login you can put, but it's not necessary. If you just put in the ended at .gov, the login will follow. And so when you blow up the top of the score report, you see here in red, I have you'll see the student's name, and then you'll see the US ID. So make note of that because that's what you'll use. And I'll walk you through setting up the account on the portal momentarily. We'll go through that. But you'll be able to find that information using the US ID that's on your score report that you get, the piece of paper you get from your school district. And if you forget the URL, it's actually also printed on the score report. You'll see it there in the paragraph from the commissioner. At the very end, it'll tell you to visit. They'll give you the address there that you can use to access results online. And the nice thing about, you'll see in a moment about accessing online, is that not only can you see the results from the current year, but you can actually see previous and historical data as well. So you can kind of have all that at one place. And that's kind of what we wanted to do with that, was provide kind of one space where parents can view not just the current results, but also previous results for their children as well. And we'll talk more about performance levels when we get onto the into the portal. Okay, so yeah, for login, I do want to make one note here, and you'll see here that when we get to the portal, and I have just a picture here of the welcome page of the portal. So when you go to the portal URL, you'll see this page here, and you'll see that on the left there, you've got the first time user, and then sort of for the first time you log in, you'll need two pieces of information. You'll need the student ID, which is on the printed paper score report in the top left, as I showed earlier, which is the US ID, and that is a nine-digit ID number. And then including that, you'll also need to enter the date of birth, and then you'll click go, and then that will take you to a screen where you'll be able to set up an account where you can just log back in with register your email, set a password, so then when you come to the site the next time, you'll navigate to your student's results using the returning user section on the right. Okay, so I'm going to switch now to the website here. Just give me one moment to swap screens here.
And thank you. And to everyone that's listening, I believe is this also the Metro schools numbers for those in Metro, right? With the couple numbers in front.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, one point I'll say on that, I'm sorry, I'm gonna get in here. The other thing I'll say about that is for now, when you log it in, it's looking for and it'll say in the blank there, a 9-digit ID number. Now, some districts have 7 digits, some have 9 digits. So if yours is 7 digits, you'll want to add 2 zeros to in the beginning of the number. And that is a quirk that we're working to address. But at the moment, it's 2 zeros at the beginning, not the end, at the beginning. That'll get you in there. And please, if you have any issues with that, feel free to email and we'll get going there. Okay, so I think I'm just about ready to share here.
while you're doing that, I'm just gonna say hello to everybody. Hello.
Yeah, I see a lot of hellos in the
Yeah,
chat.
got a lot of hellos. Hello, Rhea. Hey, Jarvis. Hey, Thomas. Welcome everybody. If I didn't call your name, it doesn't mean I don't see you and I don't miss you and I don't love you and I don't welcome you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm just trying to kill a little time here for Eric. That's all.
Gotcha.
Amen.
Okay, let's see. There we go. Oh, perfect. Okay. Sorry about the delay there. All right. So this is the welcome page here at the parent portal. And as I mentioned previously, on the left side here, you've got the first time user. So when you navigate for the first time, you'll want to use your student ID off of your printed score report. If it's not 9 digits, add the 2 zeros in the front to make it 9 digits. Follow up with your date of birth, and then go ahead and click go. If you forget where to find the ID, you can always click the "Where's my ID" button, and it will kind of remind you that it's in the top left of your score report. So I've just got a sample account here, so that we'll go in to show you what you'll find when you log in. But so once you've clicked go here and you've entered that, you'll be prompted to enter your email, set up a password, and so I've done that here, and then so we'll log in, and this will be the main page you'll see. So a couple things here. The first thing is that, and this is a sample test account, but your student's name would appear up here. And you'll basically just see a list of all the tests that they've taken, and then you'll see their results there on the right. One thing to notice, on the top left, you have the option to select the school year. So by default, you'll see the most recent results. But if you wanted to go back to last year, you can simply click that, and then you'll see their results prior. And so also, if you have questions, there is a help button at the top, which will link to a just kind of a user guide PDF that we put together for the portal site. So that would be a good resource if you just want to explore a bit more of the functionality to see what's here. You can also update if you want to, for some reason, need to change your email. You can click that to do that, and then also sign out if you need to. And then so I'll just go ahead and click on one of these. So this is Algebra 2, just some test results. And you'll notice now that I'm taken to a different page, and now you'll see that I have a couple of tabs at the top. So I'm now in the test results tab, but if I wanted to go back to, say, the main page, I can just click test history, and that'll take me back to my main page if I want to, change subjects or even change school year. So let's go back in Algebra 2, but that is how you would get back if you need to.
Eric, we can only see the family portal page right now, the sign in page.
Gotcha. Thank you, Sonia. Let me switch back here. Okay.
But this is wonderful information.
Gotcha. Can you see the main page now?
Yes. Now we can
Sorry
see
about that. I had 2 tabs. I apologize. I apologize for that. So this is the main page here. So as I was saying here, you'll see all the tests here and this listed under assessment, and you'll see their results here on the right. And by default, you'll have the 2020, the most recent results, 2020, 2021. But if you'd like, you can use a little drop-down menu here, so you can select previous grades, or previous years, I should say, to find the one you're looking for. And then on the top here, there is a little help button here. So feel free to click that. That will link you to a PDF that is kind of just a user guide of our portal. And you also update email boxes there as well. So let's click on Algebra 2. And you'll see that when I've done that, now at the top here, I've got 2 tabs. Now the test results is here, and there's also test history. So again, I just click on test history, and that will take me back to kind of the main page. So we'll go back in Algebra 2, and now what you'll see here is kind of similar to what you'll see on your printed paper score report. So the first kind of little paragraph here just gives you a little bit about the test that your student took. and then just tell a little bit about, and I do want to highlight the last section here. I think it's kind of important, is that, really the main thing that we want to encourage with you guys just kind of making sense of the portal and the data is trying to promote productive conversations. So if the take home or the to-do item for you after looking at your students' results is to initiate a conversation with your student's teacher, then that for us, that's a good result. I think we want to, the best that we can, give you the most information we can to allow you to, kind of engage in those conversations with your child's teacher, to really kind of better understand kind of where your child is and what might be beneficial moving forward. Okay, so we'll scroll down, and here is the first kind of chart you'll see is the overall mastery of the subject. So in this case, this was Algebra 2, and you'll see a chart, and we've color coded this, and below you'll see, so on our TCAP scores, we have 4 performance levels, 1 through 4. 1 is below, 2 is approaching, 3 is on track, and 4 is mastered. And if you'd like, we also have the descriptions below for each of the performance levels. I do find it helpful to not simply just look at the number and then move on. I think there is some benefit into looking at the chart, because the chart kind of provides a little information about kind of where in that category your student falls. And so, for example, if you find that they're, in this case, they're at level 1, and you can see that they're approximately halfway up and almost halfway to level 2. So you can kind of see, if you've got a student that is, scored close to one of the boundaries or something like that, I think it provides a visual of kind of where within that level that your student falls. And you'll see the number here is their score. You'll also see, and there are some other visualizations of this below, but you'll also see the state, a little dot that says state, and that is the average performance of the student state. And I should say this is also mock data, so this is just this isn't reflective of the state average for Algebra 2. It's just a mock that we put together when we look at some of these in a testing portal. So I just want to point that out. So in this case, you'll see your student score 249 midway through the below category, and then you'll see the state average is right around the level, just the beginning of the level 2 category. But I think when you just look at that, you may have some more questions. You might say, well, overall mastery of Algebra 2, what does that really mean? What does overall mastery mean? Algebra 2 has lots of subjects, right? And you may want to know, are there specific topics in Algebra 2 that my student's doing really well on? Are there certain topics in Algebra 2 that they're struggling on? So if you scroll down, the next section focuses on specific knowledge and skills and kind of which we call subscore categories. And really, these are just going to be categories of questions that make up the Algebra 2 test. So you'll see that for Algebra 2, there are 4 of these categories. And next to each of them, there's a little plus sign here. If you click on the plus sign, that will give you more information about what is in that category. So I'll just expand all of these. And next to each of these, you'll see 2 pieces of information. One is comparison to on-track students, which I'll talk about in a moment. And the second is basically the points earned over points possible. And really, this is just going to tell you, so in this case, for structure and instruction operations, there were 20 questions. And of those 20 questions, this child got 3 of them correct. And that equates to about 15%. And so you'll see a visual representation of the 50% there. But the other thing you'll see is a graphic, which will either be a kind of an orange down arrow, kind of a yellow, greenish yellow, kind of neutral arrow, and then a blue up arrow. Now on your actual printed score report, these symbols will be replaced with the down arrow would be lower. I think you'll see the word lower in place of the down arrow. In place of this kind of left-right arrow, you'd see similar, and then the blue upper arrow would say higher. Basically, what that tells you is, in comparison to the on-track students, which would be students that were in the top half of this kind of distribution here. So these top 2 colors, the blue and then the darker blue. Mm-hmm. How is your students comparing to the average student that was a 3 or a 4. And you'll see that in these examples, you'll see all of them, all of the 4 categories have the down arrow, which would be earning fewer points. But again, this is mock data. You'll likely see some of these might have up arrows, some might have down arrows. So this would provide you an opportunity to say, just in general, where, which of these categories is my child doing better in or not so well in? And then that can kind of help you figure out, the kinds of things that, the kind of directions for maybe improvement or for future practice, things like that. Again, good ways or good points of contact for a discussion with your child's teacher to say, looked like my child really understood equations and inequalities, but not so much functions. Maybe what can I do, or what can we do to help kind of remedy some of that kind of thing. So
Eric,
that's the kind of, yes.
Go back up to your this looks like a dashboard. So parents, I always like to bring stuff eye level. And so this almost everybody knows what a dashboard looks like on a car, right? And it reminds me of my old Dodge Shadow I used to have, my first little car. and I used to, I had to look at my little dashboard to see if I had enough gas. Do I have enough gas? I need to, is the car filled up? Did I fill up Sally? That was the name of my car, Sally. And so that I like to liken this to sort of like a dashboard. And so the farthest to empty is this below. When you get close to empty, it's at the below. And then when you go all the way over, it looks like that means master. So parents just kind of bring it at eye level. And it looks like there's some comparison. And Eric, can you tell us why comparisons to maybe national data or district data, why is that important? Because it looks like there's a lot of comparison here going on.
Yeah, actually, I'll scroll down a little bit. We actually have a bit more comparisons, a little bit lower. So the next section actually has a comparison of a couple different things. So in this graphic, the top line would be your student. Mm-hmm. And then you'll see 3 comparisons. So we have the school average, a district average, and a state average. And I think the reason that we kind of find that, and we've heard that that's been helpful, is just to get an idea of, just kind of how does the typical student in my child's school performing? How might the typical student in my child's district be performing? And how might the typical student in the statewide be performing? And you'll notice that in this case, you get a little bit more information about the ranges here. You'll notice that on the dashboard, you really don't know what score constitutes the orange to the 1 to the 2 or the 3 to the 4. But here you'll notice below, you'll see the ranges are below. So for below, it was the 200 to 300 approaching. So you can kind of see a little bit about what the ranges were on that particular test for the performance categories. And then again, like you say, you can also see the different averages there as well. Okay. So again, if there are questions about that, feel free to reach out. We can talk more about that. We found that that folks have found that helpful, just to kind of see, where your child might be in relation to other comparison or groups as a point of reference.
Yeah.
I should also maybe just note here that in cases, so if you have, in cases where some of these groups are really small, fewer than 10 students, we will omit that from the graph. So if you see something missing, that would just mean that for that specific grouping, we had a really small amount of data. Just putting that out there. So yeah, but good questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And like I said, if maybe you're ruminating on this and you think about it a couple days later, feel free to shoot me an email. I'm happy to hop on a phone call to talk through this to anyone that needs it. So thank you. Okay, so that's kind of the some of the visuals that we have, and then as we scroll down, I want to focus a little bit on some of the other resources that we have here. The next kind of chunk of this focuses on, what does these results kind of tell us, or what might the results tell you about kind of your students' performance? And they really have 2 areas of this. So we want to kind of lay out basically what did the certain student do well on this test, and what are some areas, based on the test, what may be the focus of improvement. Again, we tried to lay these out just so you could, as a basis of you're thinking about how might a conversation with your child's teacher or something like that, or a district, to kind of get some perspective on how might some of these things best be accomplished. But this is certainly something that we're constantly working on, and we're working to improve as well. So expect this to potentially change in the future. And then the last part here is what can my child do to keep improving? And we tried to have, more specific suggestions here rather than, whereas this section here is more about, the above was more about topics. This is more about, are there certain other specific things that my child can be doing in order to kind of improve or to show, growth and move forward. And you'll notice the bottom one here, I think is important, contact your school for information and additional support about any sort of potential interventions. Again, that, as I mentioned before, that's really a huge drive of what we would hope to accomplish with this, to give you information that can inform discussions you may have with your child's teacher. And at the end, we try to include resources. So I know there's a lot of aspects of TCAP and a lot of aspects of a lot of these different concepts and ideas. And so we tried to have some references, some resources at the bottom. If you'd like to know, I think the first thing you might want to see is the Tennessee Academic Standards. That's on the top left there. That will link you to the standards. You can view the standards if you'd like. We also have some guides for interpreting score reports as well. And those are available in a couple different languages. We provide more information about some of our science, our different tests in our different subject areas. We also have a suite of, if you're really wanting to get technical about how these scores were determined, we're happy to talk you through the committees of Tennessee educators that we have that work and provide valuable feedback on our assessment development process, as well as determining what the cutoff point should be for level 1, level 2, level 3, etc. So you can find more information about that by clicking on the How Are Scores Determined link, and these just link to different pages in the TN assessment website. And if you'd like more information about TCAP,
Eric, can you blow your screen up a little bit? I'm
sorry. What was that, Sonia?
Can you blow your screen up a little bit? I'm 45.
Oh, sorry. Is this helping?
Yeah.
I apologize. Yeah, thank you for that. Sorry.
That's okay. You got
So hopefully, the links here will be helpful. If you just, or just want to explore and learn a little bit more about, what goes into TCAP, feel free to explore these. But one thing I really do want to point out is this link here at the bottom. Was this website helpful? Tell us what you think. So that links to a feedback survey that we've developed for the family portal. And I just want to let you guys know that we really do value that feedback, and we really do take the time to sit down and anything that you guys write, we will read it. So I just want to let you guys know that we encourage and welcome any feedback. Again, we're always wanting to find ways to make this process as easy as we can and to make the information as valuable as we can. So please let us know if there's certain things you'd like to see, if there's, if you find parts of this confusing that you think would be really nice if we could have more explanation. So whatever you have, whatever you feel, please share it with us there, and we'll look at it and we'll use that information to make this a more valuable tool for you guys in navigating your child's TCAP scores.
That's wonderful. And you know what? I'm going to commit to putting together a little focus group of parents to go through this, and we can offer some group feedback also. Just wanted to give people just other platforms. Sometimes just, looking at things with each other kind of helps. But I mean, this is very helpful. What we're finding is a lot of the parents are getting or not receiving the TCAP scores and really not knowing what to do with them, right? Like, what do you do with this piece of information, and how does it inform from a parental side? And so that's one of the things that we want to make sure that our parents have access to the information so that we can aid them with, reaching out to the school and setting up a plan that will help their children. I think that's what we've been missing in past years is the absence, the silence of partnership, so that parents understand what this information means as well as the schools. One of our parents is saying, what did you say the password should be? Should it be whole birthday?
The password can be, I think there are some, I'm not 100% sure about what the requirements are in terms of special characters. But really that'll be up to you. So once you log in with the student state ID and their date of birth, that's kind of our way of authenticating that you have access to view their data. And then from there, you'll be entering your email, and then you can set the password whatever you want. And there may be some restrictions. I apologize, I don't know that if there's like a special character or a caps, but it'll let you know on screen what you need. But it can be whatever. And if you ever forget it, you can always there's a forgot password button, and you can use your email to reset it. Or feel free to let me know if you need me to help with that as well.
Okay, DePriest, let us know if you still need some assistance. Let us know if you got it. Say got it or something, so we know that you got past this step. And feel free, y'all, ask any question. Again, Eric, thank you so much. This is just vital. The first step of parents getting access, then creating an account, and then looking at a plan to actually take this information and see how it's going to inform their children going forward. We've got a lot of kids that are behind, a lot of school districts that are behind, the state is behind. And so we want to make sure we take this information and we use it to inform what the next steps are going to be in the progress in the future. Let me see if we got any more questions. Okay, she said that she's going to email
please
you.
Do. We'll dig into it. Thank you. Sorry for the problem there, but we'll dig into it. Thank you.
Thank you, DePriest. Thank you so much for actively using. Eric will respond to you and make sure you get that information. Let's see. We've got the link in there. I don't see any more questions. Does anybody have any questions? Any more questions from the audience? And now, just want to say this is recorded, so you can go back and you can watch this as many times as you need to. And then again, you can also email Eric and ask any questions. But tonight, I feel like we have accomplished our goal of making sure, first of all, that you have access and that you're able to sign in and that you can look at that information and see how that information informs you. Now, what I would like to do in lieu of Miss Ida, I want to make sure that we can stay connected. So I don't want to test it too much longer and try to get away with this weather not cutting off the power. But I want to make sure that we accomplished our goal, and I believe that we did, and that's access. Making sure that we're able to contact you if there's any questions about the portal or the information in the portal. And so I don't see any more questions in there. And so I want to see if you have any closing remarks, Eric.
Sure. I just want to thank everybody again. I know that, I've only been at the department for a little over a year now. And, I've really enjoyed working with parents. I think this was super crucial, especially at the currently where we are right now. I think knowing students' performance has never been more important. So I'm happy to do what I can to help you guys dig into this. And like I said, please, if any issues come up during login, please let me know, or if any questions at all, I'm happy to answer them. And I appreciate for your time, Sonia, for having me. And thank you so much. It's been great.
I appreciate you guys honoring our request. You tell Dr. Swin I said hi. She's always open. They always answer my call. Chelsea, and Scott, they always answer my calls. And I appreciate you guys responding to our request to show us how to navigate this portal so we can make sure that parents have access. We got some people saying thank you. John Little says thank you. He's one of our outreach and organizing director, but also school board member for District 4. So thank you, John. But I am not going to hold it. I just want to say to the audience, thank you so much for tuning in. I know that the weather's very cloudy outside, and some of you, you're taking a chance getting on the internet. And so I appreciate you taking your time out. And I'm going to end on this note to say that when parents have the understanding, when we have the knowledge, then we will fight for our children. And so I want to shout out all the parents and grandparents who logged on tonight to fight for your children and to get this piece of information. Share, like, make sure other parents have access to it. And again, if you have any questions, you can reach out to Eric Wulff at the Tennessee Department of Education. You can email him at eric.wulff, that's WULFF at Tennessee.gov, TN.gov. Okay. All right, everybody. Stay focused, stay tuned. This Wednesday, we will not have access denied. Myself and some of the team members are on vacation. Believe it or not, we're taking a vacation for a week to rest. I need to get some cleaning done. Y'all see my vacuum cleaner and stuff over here, but I need to get some cleaning done. I need to spend some time with my children and make sure that I invest some time into them and invest some time into taking care of my body. my heart, my soul, my mind. So I want to make sure that I'm able to lead and lead healthy. So with that being said, we will see you next week for next week's Monday update, and then next Wednesday for Access Denied. Love you guys. Thank you, and have a good night.
Good night, everybody.